The NFC South, the AFC North, and the AFC South are all going down to Week 18. Just what transpired this week to put us in that situation?
Buffalo and Philadelphia. Comes down to a 2-point conversion. Unfortunately, Superman just can't get the job done.
We recap all the latest playoff implications from Week 17 on Sunday Scaries with Buccs McGee.
Week 17. Some duds, some good stuff, some head scratchers. Just don't know. But overall, in a week, couple good games, but most of the games really didn't hold much water. But hey, this is why we watch the games.
Some duds. Oh,
Some duds, man.
Lou and Sarah popping in right off the bat. Duds ain't the word.
But I gotta give love to Drake May. Five tutty Drake May.
Yes, that is true. He's trying to steal that MVP from Matthew Stafford at the finish line.
That's it. Doesn't matter who you're playing, just gotta get the stats up, make it look good.
That's right. Who cares if it's against the Jets? It's still technically an NFL opponent.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, Bucks McGee, the pivotal headline heading into Week 18 will be two divisions that are do or die. Winner gets a home game. Loser goes to the sofa. And the first one incorporates your team as well with the NFC South. Sir, do you have anything you would like to say to the Bucks after dropping to Quinn Ewers?
It's got to be impressive to go, 7-9 and still have a chance to win your division. That's highly impressive. I don't know how you can do it. I think it's highly impressive. It's comical at this point. Like what do you got to do to literally get eliminated? Like literally.
Yeah.
But you know what? But I give credit to Quentin Ewers. It's one of those things where he sees an opportunity because they're done with Tua. Tua's done. Once they benched him, you just knew this was the start. So he's doing his thing. He's showing out, and he's probably going to get a solid chance to start next year. So I give him credit. Tampa side, just there's no heart. I think that team is just giving up. That team is whatever. I think you'll see some interesting things in the offseason, but all Carolina had to do was beat Seattle. So shout out to Sam Darnold and those Hawks. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean the surprising decision is what happened in Miami because Seattle beating Carolina, let's face it, was a bit expected.
It was, but you got to give Carolina credit. They hung in there for a good chunk of the game. It was just at some point, you figured the Hawks were going to do a little something, and there were some breakdowns in the defense. But Carolina proved, for the most part, they were able to hang. I'll give them credit. So it is what it is. It comes down to Week 18. It shouldn't, but it does. And so, Tampa, go out with a whimper. There'll be a lot of questions of what if and what should have been with this franchise, and we'll see what happens.
To your point on the whole 7-9 thing, very intriguingly enough, the Dolphins win takes them to 7-9. So you have two teams with the same record, and one of them is in this do or die situation for a playoff home game, and the other one has been out of it for a couple of weeks. How different divisions and conferences are in this situation here from one game.
It just goes to show you the quality of the NFC South. The hard-nosed football, the grind it out week to week. It just shows how great it is. It's a crappy division. Everybody knows that. It is what it is. But you know what? At the end of the day, you play who you play. Any team that's eliminated would kill to be in Tampa's position. I don't care who you are. Their fans can sit there and talk all the crap they want, But I'll tell you right now, the Cowboys would love to be 7-9 and have a chance at the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. Although I don't know if they
Well,
would. I think they'd be eliminated in their case.
but you know what? They'd still be relevant in Week 18. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. It just shows, unfortunately, the ineptitude of this division. And of course, there'll be the people who are going to say, well, we need to rework the playoff system. Hey, rework it. Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, no, don't. Hey, I'd be embarrassed if I go, 8-9 and make the playoffs. I feel like a Steeler. I'd feel bad.
Like a Steeler. Literally.
Sorry, they're 9-8. I apologize. When you're 9-8, I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. But no, I'd say rework it. I think it's a joke. I do. But
yeah.
Hey, this is the NFL, the NFL that I root in. So
yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, the 4x4 divisions I think have gone on for a bit too long. They should go back to the old NFC AFC Central days.
Yeah, but it won't happen because unfortunately owners will be crying, I'm not making money, this, that, I'm not gonna get my playoff game. I'm not gonna be an 8-9 team and get my one playoff game, blah, blah, blah. It's all about the mighty dollars. So what can I tell you?
Lou thinks the Cowboys would drop the ball anyway in that scenario.
They probably would lose, but like I said, they would be relevant in Week 18. When's the last time Dallas has been relevant this late in the season?
Ever. Before we move on to them.
Jerry would sell T-shirts and say Week 18, A-OK or whatever. He'd come up with something.
A-OK. Average, we strive for mediocrity.
That's right, baby.
Before we move on to those aforementioned Steelers, I do want to ask, you say heart is a big concern with your Bucks. Does that sting a little bit considering that's Baker's thing, is the grit and the heart and the toughness?
No, because Baker shows it. So I don't have that issue with my quarterback. I think a lot of it's on the defensive side. I think there's some guys who probably think they're a little better than they are. I think you're going to see some interesting stuff. Mike Evans, his contract's up this year. So it's going to be a question of whether he wants to come back. It wouldn't surprise me if he says, you know what, it's been a hell of a run, but I want one more ring, and he signs with a contender. It wouldn't surprise me, and I would tell him to do it.
Yeah.
I honestly think Todd Bowles needs to get out of the, if he wants to be the head coach still, that's fine. Get yourself a defensive coordinator. You need to figure this out. There are guys who, 1 week will play great. The next week, you have no idea what they're doing. Jamel Dean is one of them. Thank goodness he'll be gone next year. He reworked his contract so he could be a free agent. Whoever he signs with. Dude, I've met the guy a couple of times. He's a good guy, but it's like you watch him play. He makes a great play, and then, he gets burnt, and then he gets hurt, and then it's nonstop. I think a change of scenery for him is needed. They've got some young cornerbacks, so sometimes there's some points, and I think in any sport where if you ride with the same roster for over so long that it's time to say, hey, it's time to move on. It's time to change some things up. And I think with this defense, this is one of them.
Well, the silver lining, Bucks McGee, is that if the Panthers are to take this division, at least that'll give the Glazers an opportunity to move on from Todd Bowles.
Hey, so if not, then that's okay. They'll win it, and then who knows who'll win it the next year. It is what it is, but we'll see what happens. But hey, alive in Week 18, I guess with this hodgepodge group, that's all I could ask for.
Yes. Now on to those Steelers, because this is a very fun topic to come out of Sunday. They just couldn't put away the Browns. They couldn't put a stamp on the division and squash the last remaining ember of the Ravens' playoff hopes. And sure enough, they head into a do or die Week 18 with Baltimore. Do you smash them because they lost to the Browns and they couldn't convert on that last second attempt for the tie? Or do you well, you know what? Cleveland's a good defense. The pound can be a tough place to play. Where do we kind of lean here as far as blame?
Oh, no, you better bring the hammer. It's time to smash. No. And I don't mean smash in that way either. No, it's time to drop the hammer. No. No, the Steelers are great. Blah blah blah. Aaron Rodgers is back, and you had a chance to handle your business. And I understand Cleveland's got a great defense. I've sung their praises, but still, you lost to Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. That at the end of the day, that's what that says. There's no in between. You had a chance to take the division and be like, all right, we're ready to go. Doesn't happen.
Shedeur played miserably.
Exactly, literally, and you couldn't get the job done. No, there's no past here. So now you're going to get the Ravens, who all of a sudden watch. Lamar Jackson will probably be as healthy as can be, and they're going to put up the greatest performance of the season. They'll put up like 40 points on the Steelers team, and then everyone's going to sit there and say, "Oh, well, where was this Ravens team throughout the season?" But it won't matter because, as we all know, in the script, they win the division.
Yeah.
So it's all come to fruition. You got to be dramatic. Here it is.
Yes, I wish my tinfoil hat was in reaching distance. I did not have it prepared tonight. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it would be an issue.
Dude, once Cleveland won, you should have shined that sucker up.
Yes. So this is an interesting aside because we had a conversation off air following the Ravens-Packers game about who do we trust more, and we went down all the playoff games, and we said, yeah, we trust Pittsburgh. Heck no, we don't trust Baltimore. But now it's very much, it might be a little bit of opposite emotions heading into next week.
So one time I'm like, all right, Steelers, I'm going to give you your due a little bit. What do? You shat the bed. So nope. I hope the Ravens put 40 on them and call it a day, and then Mike Tomlin can leave and coach the Giants. Because if they don't get into the playoffs, I'm sorry, Mike Tomlin's gone. He's gone. He has to. If I'm him, I'm leaving. I'm done with this.
Yeah, they'll go walk right up to the Rooneys and be like, nope, we've had our time.
Well, that and the fans, and don't worry, there'll be an outrage, and who knows. Maybe, the Glazers will say, hey, Tom, come on, Tomlin, come on down. We got sun. You got no taxes. Come on down. You can fix this mess. You could be 9-8 and forever own this division.
He goes from winning the division with the Bucks at 8-9 to winning the division with the Steelers at 9-8.
Just making the playoffs with the Steelers to being a perennial playoff powerhouse in the NFC South. Yeah, that's something to hang your hat on.
Yeah. So, okay. So that we're definitely down on the Steelers now. Noted.
Yeah, like I said, Cleveland's defense is great, but you knew you had to win the game. Win the game, you win the division. Now you leave after you saw what Baltimore did last night.
Yes.
Come on. Really? I'm sorry. Pittsburgh is not some high-powered offense that's putting 35 points up a game and all of this, So, okay, now we're going to find out.
Our next game up is the 2-point conversion heard around the world. Why? Just kick the extra point. Go to overtime.
I see why Buffalo did it. I can't fault them. They had some momentum. I can't fault them. I can respect Buffalo in this game. Like this was a crappy game. Like the weather was crappy. Buffalo hung around. Philly looked off.
A bit.
Like I said, the weather played a lot into it, no doubt. But at the end of the day, Josh brought him to the brink. It was a bad throw. At the end of the day, bad throw. So I'm sure, if he had that chance again, he makes that throw no problem. But they hung tough. Their defense played well, played better than I expected. So unfortunately, they lose they won't be a repeat division champ. New England has come back and taken, I guess, what they feel is rightfully theirs after a 6-year absence. And, Buffalo will figure it out, but it was a hard-fought game. I can't fault them too much for it.
I'll throw this up because Lou and Sarah were at this game, so they can confirm the weather did suck, and the Bills wanted that Seahawks smoke from last weekend in that epic Thursday nighter.
Yeah, that weather looked horrible. I watched that game. I was like, wow. I said, yeah. But
that was on par with that Saints game the Bucks had. That was unfortunately a loss.
yeah, but you give Buffalo credit. They stuck around. I think though you kind of see what they need. They definitely need a legit real number one receiver to help out in that situation. But overall, they played hard. I can't fault them. I really can't fault them in this game.
It definitely throws the seedings into a mix right now because, like you said, they lose the AFC East. AFC East. And so the Patriots now don't have to worry about that. They only have to worry about home field with the Broncos. So that puts them squarely just worrying about one angle going into their final week, and it also kind of flips around the wild card situation because we'll get to the AFC South in a moment, but the loser of that will potentially still have the leg up on the Bills. The Chargers could also are still in the mix to leapfrog the Bills, so the Bills could be in a situation where they're at the bottom of the wild card field and they don't have a home field advantage over anyone in potential upset situations.
And I think it almost kind of fits them. I think if Buffalo's going to do anything, then I think their backs truly need to be against the wall. The way this team's constructed and just the way they play, it just seems like they play better when like the chips are 100% against them, like really, really down. So, yeah, of course, every team wants the number one seed. You want, basically, everything to come through your facility to get to the Super Bowl. But I think Buffalo can handle it. I think, they understand the situation they're in, and they're going to say, okay, well, if after, week 18, after the dust settles, if literally every game we're on the road, then so be it.
Yeah. Well, and when you think of, I guess most of the division winners in the AFC are going to be outside teams, so you can't even necessarily say this offense that has struggled. Maybe it's better for them to go to indoor stadiums and nice weather, but really the only potential for that would be the AFC South because the Patriots are outdoors in poor weather and the Steelers are outdoors in poor weather. Baltimore maybe a toss-up in that situation. And then, of course, the Broncos, that's kind of a crapshoot. That could be anything. So
yeah,
the
exactly.
aren't going to get any favors from, nice weather or optimal conditions.
No, it's just gonna be a situation of okay, first week of the playoffs, where are we? And then you just go from there. It's a reset. So I think they'll be okay. On the other side of this game, Philly scratched it out, but I think people are looking at them a little bit like, all right, they're not the powerhouse, that we thought they were. And again, it's all right. Philly's a decent team, but they don't scare anybody. Their defense played well, today, but offensively, some issues still. So Philly's got some things to clean up as well.
And on the flip side, the Eagles also have some seeding fallout from this win as well, and we'll get into the Sunday night game in a moment. But one of the participants in that Sunday game is in a dogfight with the Eagles for the number 2 seed, which could be relevant should the NFC West winner fall apart and the NFC not going through the Western champion. So this is kind of important for Philly to take care of business next week, regardless of what Chicago does in the next couple of days, because they also have the Lions, who we know from the past, as they ruined Aaron Rodgers' Packers career, they love to play spoiler. So this is a pretty important win for Philly, even as ugly as it may have been.
No, it's true. No, definitely, but at this point, does anybody fear the Lions?
No, but you know how Dan Campbell goes. They'll play when they'll get up when they have nothing to play for. as opposed to when they have everything to play for.
That's if they've got health on their defensive side, because don't forget they're a walking wounded unit too. So no, definitely. But this will also be the game where Jalen Hurts throws for 400 yards. AJ Brown gets 3 touchdowns, 180 yards, and all of a sudden all is well in the offensive world of the Philadelphia Eagles, and then no one will have anything to complain about for at least 1 week.
Yeah.
So, that's what it'll be. Everyone will be kumbaya, and then first week of the playoffs, they barely put up 20 points, somehow win, and then everyone's angry again. So I think the Eagles just need to, play a solid game and try to get their offense back on par, because honestly, there's a lot of power. There's a lot of offensive power in the NFC. If you really think about it, there's a lot of points being scored, and right now they're on the bad side of it. They just can't seem to put up points consistently. And yeah, their defense is great, but there's going to be a point where they're going to need that offense to produce, and I don't know.
Indeed, a lot of points being scored in the NFC, and they pretty much all occurred in Sunday night primetime this week.
Yeah, why would you want to play defense? Why would you put 40 plus points in the first half between both teams? Why not? Let's just let's have some fun. Unreal, man, unreal.
In spite of the fact that the game got off to a pretty fireworks type of start with a pick six, that was pretty much no defense after that for about 30 minutes of game time.
Chicago fans probably after that pick were like, "Oh man, this is our game. It's about to go down. We're gonna blow them out." And then Brock Purdy says, "Okay." He just starts like you told me. Are we watching Michael Vick? Because that man just running and gunning. I'm like, can anyone stop this guy? Anyone gonna do anything?
Yeah. I didn't know Brock Purdy had the wheels like that.
I don't know if anyone had, their tight end there, Tongas, going for maybe over 100 yards on their bingo card tonight. I'm like, and they're bragging about him, and they're like, yeah, well, George Kittle's hurt. This guy's catching, having great games every week and putting up touchdowns. I'm like, well, then why didn't they keep him in the lineup? 2 tight end set maybe or something?
Yeah, it's not like their receivers have been lighting the world up this season. McCaffrey's the only one that does.
he has a chance to get 1,000 yards, receiving and rushing. And the last time he did that was when he played in Carolina. And he he told them this would mean more because it was on a meaningful team. Like, that's some mess, dude. Like, those people in Carolina are like, wow, all right there. All right, dude.
You know what?
For you.
That's bulletin board material. Should the Niners not take that division, guess who they're going to play? As long as they Carolina takes care of business.
I don't know if there's anybody left on that team though that played with him, but who knows? There might be one. There's always one guy who sticks around.
The fans remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah, the fans remember. Yeah. But no, no defense in this game. Caleb Williams is looking good. He had a nice little, a couple of his tosses. I was like,
dying.
I'm like, dude, you either get the great Caleb or the what the hell were you thinking, Caleb? It's crazy. But this game will be interesting. I'm sure it's going to come down to something interesting at the end of the game. But overall, like you said, there's offense here.
The great Caleb or the what the hell Caleb, but that's with a much different connotation than when we usually say that about one Jordan Love.
Right now, I'm telling you, Caleb Williams is like the Jordan Love Green Bay thought they had, like legit, like really, like okay, he's gonna make a bonehead throw or two, but he's gonna have 3 or 4 dimes where you're like, what?
This isn't the NFC North quarterback you're looking for.
If you told me today I had to start a franchise and I had to pick one of the two, I would take Caleb Williams. I would. I really would. Now, mind you, the man, I would age a lot quicker, and I'd go fully gray. But at least I know that probably one of those throws is going to win me a game, as opposed to Jordan Love, who's just going to throw some stupid pick, and I'm going to be like, yep, okay, thanks. Thanks.
Yeah, and so the other thing that's a bit that I would be a bit concerned of if I was a Niners fan after this one, and really after last week, is okay, they won, but Philip Rivers was very surgical against that defense, and here's Caleb Williams dropping dime bombs on them every series practically. So my concern as a Niners fan would be this defense, without Warner, and there's a report that he may be back in time at some point in the playoffs if they have a deep run. Without Bosa, that this defense is starting to lose any kind of success that it may have had earlier in the year because they just don't have the parts to keep up with these NFL offenses.
The problem is they don't have a consistent pass rush, and that's the problem. When they were at full power, when you had Warner, you had Bosa, you had those guys, they had a pass rush. And then, the secondary was able to, be productive. Here they don't rush the passer that much, and they get opportunities. There's no doubt, but this is a team that, I don't see them winning 17 to 16 games like that. They're not going to put up just enough points, and their defense is going to have a stand and pull it out. You see what they're doing tonight, 28-28. They're going to have to outgun, and if their offense is set where they can do that. But even if Fred Warner comes back, it's still emotionally, yes, it gives you the lift, and the guys are amped. There's no doubt about it. But you still got to perform, and he may not be ready to come back yet. Like, he may be just cleared 2 days beforehand, and then they say, okay, go ahead and play. He's going to be winded a bit. It's just this team needs all of their parts. They need Bosa. They're going to have to score points to win games. That's just what it is. They're going to need everyone on deck who can be healthy. They got to make sure that Kittle comes back healthy. That's another person. So This defense it's middle of the road, but they very well could get blown out first game of the playoffs.
I'm going to give you 100 chips at the poker table. Divvy these chips up between the Rams, between the Seahawks, and between the Niners, and tell me who do you think will have the best chance to win here. Now, the Niners and the Seahawks, of course, play each other in the final game of the season. The Rams have the Falcons on Monday night and the Cardinals again, so they obviously have the easiest path. So where do you kind of divide up the poker chips between the three of them?
Wow. And I have to take into account last week's Hawks-Niners, fiasco there, because the Niners couldn't handle the deal. So I'm giving you 70 on the Niners. 70 on the Rams. Rams are getting 70. I'm giving you. Actually, let me change that. 60 on the Rams, 30 on the Hawks, 10 on the Niners.
Oh, so you don't think you think that they're not going to be able to hold up against the Seahawks defense?
The Hawks defense was solid today. Like literally the second half, they really clamped down, had some picks, had some fumbles. Like, when that defense could be something special in the next couple of years as a total. Not back in the day where it was the Legion of Boom and that's how their defense thrived, and then everything else worked around that. I think they have a more complete defense than that. And right now, like I said, I think the Rams are just a little better offensively. But if you're asking me 2 years from now, I'm switching that up, and I think the Hawks are going to be that team. I think the Hawks just have it right now going forward in the future. But no, right now I'm taking the Rams, Hawks, and the Niners, because the Niners just can't stop anybody. They can score points. They just can't stop anybody. They're like a high-end Bengals. Except their defense is a little better, and they're able to sustain somehow.
Yeah, high-end Bengals. Bengals are the Timu Niners.
Yep, exactly. The Bengals are your Timu Niners. There it is, folks. That's exactly it. Like, it's funny. It's the Niners put up points, and somehow just do just enough to win. The Bengals score points, and then just give up more and more points.
Yeah. All right. I put this one off long enough because not that it really meant anything to our playoff fate since we were already diminished, but uh, it was certainly never easy to watch my team lose to the Jaguars, even if it meant nothing. And Trevor Lawrence did it all with his legs on this one.
Yeah, he was scrambling, looking all little fancy. I was like, oh, okay, Trevor got a little. Well, he kind of was like that when he played at Clemson. He had some mobility,
Yeah.
and I think he's kind of figuring now, especially in this offense, that hey, if I can scramble and get a couple yards, you take him. He's an athlete. Don't be stupid and try to run for 20 yards and get your head blown off. But run when you can, when it calls for it, and he has definitely matured this year as a quarterback for sure. I think people have to give him that credit for sure. I think that it's helped this offense. The defense is solid. It's going to be a big test come playoff time. If they're in the heat of battle, it's going to be a test. They had their chance before and dropped the ball, so it'll be fun to see what this team does. Got to give Liam Cohen his flowers.
I know that hurts.
Like I said, it hurts, everyone knows my thoughts on him. If he had just left Tampa the right way, I'd have no problem with him. I love Dave Canales. That's my boy. If Dave Canales does a run and goes to the Super Bowl, God bless you, man. I'll send him a card. God bless Dave Canales.
Send him a card.
I'll send him a card. I got nothing but love for Dave Canales. He did it right. Liam Cohen, was a little shady, so that bothers me. Your word is your word, but we're not going to go into that. But at the end of the day, he's turned this franchise around, and now they look good. And depending what they do this year, they'll I'm sure there'll be a ton of Jacksonville fans here in Orlando area because they'll be playing in Orlando because they're $1.9 billion refurb or whatever of that nuclear waste site you refer to it as.
It is.
Right?
You've been there. You were there with me. You know it's true.
It's not horrible, but yeah, when I've got my, my mascot jumping off a bungee cord, that's a little freaky. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just have a pirate ship. We keep it to the ground. We keep it simple here. But they've turned the tide, and they look to be a bona fide franchise. So you give them their flowers, give them their credit, and now we'll see what they do.
I will say, and although nothing will probably change as they're not playing each other in the final week, and the Texans are playing us when we're starting Riley Leonard again, and the Jags are playing the Titans, who obviously have nothing to play for, and they almost beat the Saints, but they're still at least a game behind the other leaders for the number one pick. So I can't.
The way you said that, they almost beat the Saints. Okay, and who are the Saints? They're in my division, but for gosh sakes, man, really, dude, they're like the NFC South Jets. Come on, man, let's be real. Almost got the Saints.
Well, it doesn't excuse them for trying to beat the Saints or anybody for that matter. You should not be trying to win at this point of the season if you're bad.
I can see the Titans winning, finishing off the season strong because teams do stupid things.
The Giants, we'll get to that.
Yet again, that's a yearly thing. That's a yearly thing with them.
Yeah. So, on that note, maybe this is another poker situation of we'll push 100 chips to the table. Are you going to give the edge to the Jags since they're currently in the driver's seat, or are you going to bet on something weird and wacky happening? Maybe Houston finds a little backdoor way to unseat them.
If Houston can find some consistent offense, like really, really consistent offense, then I would put some money on Houston. Because their defense is ridiculous. That defense is freaking nuts.
It's not going to take much offense to beat the Colts, let me just tell you.
But here's the thing with the Colts. Here's the thing. Right now, you don't know when Danny Dimes is coming back. So you very well may be riding along with Phillip Rivers next year.
I don't think Phillip Rivers wants any part of this.
Who knows? pick up some free agent pieces, shore some things up. It's not like the Colts were a cluster F all season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with Houston, they've got to get some health on the offense and just be able to score some points. Like I said, because their defense is unbelievable. So I think people want to give the Jags their due 100%, but I think in the back of their minds, it's like, okay, something's got to happen. This is too good to be true. First-year coach, yeah, this is a good feel-good story. Something's got to happen. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but Houston could do something, man.
I do want to be a little positive for my team, and I've got to tip the cap to Philip Rivers for being 44, absolutely fat as a bump on the log, and for him to have played the way he did in these 3 games, I'm kind of impressed.
See, so your future's got some brightness to it.
My future with a 45-year-old quarterback who took 5 years off just to get health insurance again.
It was a plan. They were like, the NFL was like, okay, we're not going to vote you into the Hall of Fame this year, so this is what we're going to do. We'll put you in another 5 years, but you got to come back. And oh, by the way, we're going to re-up your health insurance because that's how it is in the NFL. Once you leave the NFL, folks, if you didn't know this, I'm sure you all do, but we'll drop some knowledge. Once you retire, they give you health insurance for 5 years, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. For as much money as this freaking league makes, you need to give me 15, man. If I've been in the league like 10, 12 years, you pony it up. Give me the basic Cigna plan. I'll be all right, whatever. And so it's funny how his insurance was about to end and the Colts needed a quarterback, and here comes Philip Rivers with his bolo tie on a horse to come save the Colts. Something's a little fishy to me, but hey,
base rounder than a volleyball.
got like 9 kids, 12 grandkids, or whatever you got. But you know what, Philip Rivers, you cash in. I'm proud of you, man. You get yours. do you? And he'll be back next year. They got no choice. They got to give him something, because who's gonna be your starter?
Right now, I have no idea. The only thing I'll say with Dimes is the fact that this injury probably saved the Colts a lot of money, because obviously you're not going to give somebody with a busted Achilles a massive, massive contract, not knowing what he's going to be like next year.
Yeah, but I think, either way, I think once he comes back, of course, he's going to be back as the starter. It's just who's the bridge guy right now.
You know what? If Phil wants it, Phil can have it. But I would probably just lean towards Riley Leonard, because at this point, as you know, I'm ready to ship Anthony Richardson out with the laundry.
What about Tua?
I don't want him. That's damaged goods. I don't want someone on some other team's damaged goods.
If Miami said, okay, because we just got to get rid of him. We'll pay pretty much all the salary, all of everything, but give us like a some package of like 4th and 5th round picks.
I'm not giving him a 4th or 5th round pick. I just gave him 2 ones for sauce.
Oh man, I saw a meme. This is gonna hurt. They were like, who do you feel bad for this year in the NFL? They were like, Sauce Gardner. He left a 1-7 team, and then he went to the Colts, and his record was 1-7. I was like, that's fluffed up, bro. Like, leave Sauce Gardner alone, man. He had a rough patch. It's not his fault his quarterback went down. Leave Sauce alone.
Yeah, really.
It was a rough patch, but no. At the end of the day, the Jags have got the Jags could surprise some people. They could just implode this magic ride and then just have to come back next year, and they might be a team to be reckoned with next year. But right now, you got to give them flowers.
And to cap off our discussion on this Week 17, why? Oh, why? Now, I know they don't need a quarterback. Check some darts. Liz looked like the goods. But why? The Giants never learn when it's the time to lose.
You asked this question. They do this every year. This is like every year with them. Like, because they're trying to create the culture of winning. Because you're not supposed to tank. You're not supposed. This is the NBA. You're not supposed to tank. You're supposed to try to win.
This culture of winning hasn't been working for about 10 years. They haven't done anything to imprint that.
But you know what? I can appreciate them trying to win. I can appreciate it because I would assume as a pro athlete, like you don't want to, you want to win a game. Like you want to end the season on a positive note. You don't want to be like, damn, we blew like 8 games, we suck. Like you're just a loser, And the Raiders, which is funny, they basically have said they're gonna, sit Max Crosby for the remainder of the season for the next 2 games, and he was pissed.
He got angry.
And if you go on his Instagram, he's jumping on a trampoline, he's playing basketball, shooting jumpers and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's a little pissed off. He's not happy at all. And then of course the Raiders are like, no, everything is okay. So there were always murmurs about them, people looking to trade for Max, especially when the trade deadline came, even though the Raiders re-upped him with an extension. So I think, and his quote was, "It's not my job to worry about draft picks. That's the front office. I'm supposed to be the best defensive end in the world." And he just wants to play, and I can respect that. He's a guy who wants to win. Yeah, you've had a crappy season, but you want to get a win. You want to end the season on a note where you're like, okay, things were crappy for most of the year, but we started to turn things around. And when you're told, nope, we're gonna sit you, even though you let me play with this bum knee for pretty much all year, and you knew something, at some point was gonna happen, why not just tell him, okay, you know what, we're just gonna get your knee fixed early in the season and call it a day and have him come back.
I can respect that attitude from the individual's perspective, but also I've got to look at it and be like, dude, you have to look at the bigger picture here. The number 1 pick will probably be Fernando Mendoza. You are in desperate need of a quarterback. You've got Genti. Imagine the 2 of them paired together for the next decade. That's something you should want to be a part of as an elite defensive player.
But see, here's the problem with that, because number 1 quarterbacks aren't necessarily guarantees, man. They're not. And Mendoza, I give the guy credit, wholesome, good guy, like literally cries when he talks about his family and won the Heisman and, golly gee kind of guy. That's not to say he's going to come in and be freaking Ryan Leaf 2.0.
No, but going to the Raiders, he can text Tom Brady anytime he has a question. Pete Carroll's proven to know how to work with young quarterbacks. We saw what he did with Russell Wilson. And Fernando Mendoza is a hell of a lot better prospect coming into the league than Russell Wilson was.
Tom's coming back, okay, dude. Just to let you know, Tom's coming back. All right. He saw Phillip Rivers and said, "Fuck this, man." He said, if Phillip can do that, I'm ready to go. Some team signed some team that just barely missed out on the playoffs. Tom's gonna go to the Steelers and bring him a Super Bowl. Get ready for it. But
he's gonna go to the Raiders. That would be a conflict of interest. You gotta go to the Raiders, and that's even better because then Fernando can learn from him.
No, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, because then at that point it's like, I don't know, it leaves a bad taste. It's like you got to try to win. I get it, you want the number 1 pick. I get it, but don't be so blatant about it. Don't be just blatant like, yeah, we're gonna blow these last 2 games, and then we want the first pick. Like, come up with something. Sign Jamarcus Russell or something and say you're desperate for quarterback help or something. Like, figure it out.
Oh yeah, talk about bringing fat quarterbacks back into the league.
You know what? The pocket quarterback could come back in vogue. Get ready for it. But when your best player is mad, sometimes you got to suck it up and say, okay, big guy, I will let you play. But if at any point we feel that you're not there, we're pulling you and you're done.
Yeah, or it's a voided contract.
Yep, or see you later.
I've got to poke fun a little bit here because you're saying, hey, yeah, you want to end the middle on a high note. You want to go out with a winner even though it was a lost season. You, sir, off air, did not want to accept my argument that college athletes like the poll system better because they go out on a positive note.
That's because it's different now because they're getting paid and stuff. It's totally different. Back in our youth, you went to college. They went to college 4 years, and that was their reward. That was their reward. Now they're signing contracts, and they get to leave and jump. It's like the worst free agency I've ever seen. Pay back the money. Pay back the money we gave you, and now you get to go to any team you want. Like, no, totally different. I get what you say, but totally different. But I can't fault the Giants. Maybe they felt, maybe they looked at the draft board and said, well, we have our quarterback, so if we win, it doesn't really hurt us. Because some team will probably want to move up in the draft board anyways, and they'll give the Giants a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Falcons. They trade back into the first round, and then at this point, they may not have a quarterback for another 10 years.
Yeah. And look where that got the Falcons.
Now they're like, I don't know if Michael Penix is the guy. Oh, really? So, that's what you get for pissing off, freaking Kirk Cousins. And then, you got some pieces for your defense, but now you think your quarterback's trash. You don't like him, but you give up the picks.
Although, given the fact that they've already, won some meaningless games to completely tank the chance at number one that they're just going to give to the Rams anyway, watch them win on Monday night to really screw over the Rams and push that pick down even more.
Yep, that's a Falcons thing to do. That's a Falcons thing to do. Like, we're out of it. We suck, but you know what? We're going to screw you over.
Yeah.
The NFL, I love it. It's great. It's great.
Well, Buccs McGee, there's a lot of playoff scenarios kind of fizzled away this week and a lot set up for Week 18. So give us your final thoughts as we bid Week 17 adieu.
Oh, Week 17 just ended it for me, and I could have moved on with my life. Could have, got prepared for pitchers and catchers in February, but nope, I've got to hang on for at least one more week, folks. So for some of you, Week 18 is do or die. There it is. It's kind of sad, though. The regular season's coming to an end. It's been a great ride, ups and downs, tears of joy, tears of anger. We're going to ride it out and see what happens. But again, Steeler Nation, you bunch of dotes.